That's it. Ready, guys. So, well, today we're going to have the only class of the week, number 7. It's unfortunately, it's just only one class, right? It's going to be a class a little bit difficult, could be, because it's very different from our Spanish, like what we are used to do in Spanish, right? So that's why it's probably a little bit difficult, but I trust that for you three, it's going to be good because you have good level and you try to understand always good the language. So I think that for you three, it's going to be fine. Okay. We're going to start here with this question. Actually, we're going to start working in Spanish a little bit today. So the question is, how do you say these words in English, right? How do you say enfermarse? How do you say enojarse? How do you say fastidiarse? How do you say divertirse? And how do you say emocionarse? How did you say all of those words? Any idea?
Teacher, but it had to be with just one word.
No, not necessarily. Actually, it's impossible. Yes. So, for example, here, Christian already find one of the possible solutions. It's not only with one word, because in English, we don't have the equivalent of that word. Yes. So we don't have a verb that it's exactly the same as enfermarse. We have other possibilities, but exactly the same, we don't have that meaning. So, Christian, very good. We cannot do it with just one word. We have to form with other different words. So, in this case, the question is not how did you say that, but how do you form that verb with what words?
Okay, I think that enfermarse it's get sick, maybe.
Oh, excellent. Very good, Chris. Get sick. That's it, right? So it's the verb get and plus an adjective, right? So you said, okay, good, good. Get, like receive. Okay, let's say. What about then if I say, how do you say enfermarse? Enfermarse, no, perdón, enojarse. It's enojarse, sorry.
Get hungry?
Get hungry es que te da hambre, ¿no? Pilas, angry.
Hungry.
Exactly, exactly, good. So get angry, very good. Or get mad, no? It's even more popular, get mad, right? So get mad at me or get mad at somebody, right? Like be angry. Okay, so how would you say then get fastidiarse? How would you say that? O molestarse also could be.
Maybe get get mad.
Get mad, well, that one was what we said before, but we have other possibility, like for example, get annoyed. Yes, get annoyed. The adjective annoyed, it means molesto, fastidiado, no? Or also could be get upset, which is also molesto, fastidiado, right? So in that case, get upset. Very good. Then another one, probably more like better, like more positive. Divertirse. How would you say divertirse?
To have fun.
Have fun. Very good. So in that case, we have fun, right? Okay, very good. Also, we have another possibility, which is get amused, which is divertirse, right? Another possibility. Amused is similar to fun. It's just a synonym, okay? Emocionarse, then how would you say that?
Get excited?
Very good. Muy bien, Brian. So get excited. Ready? So guys, as you can see, for example, here, when we work or when we have some words that in Spanish they don't, sorry, that in English they do not exist, there is always a way to create the words. So today we're going to work about the word formation, right? How can we create other words or how can we make ourselves understood? Yes. For example, when we don't know how to say a word, which is seeking, which is actually like a synonym of enfermarse. There is always a simple way that we can use, creating like or combining different words, no? So this is going to help me to paraphrase. Do you remember what is paraphrasing? Paraphrase, paraphrase. Do you know what is that? Any idea?
Like parafrasear,
¿Y qué es parafrasear, Chris, en Spanish?
como utilizar diferentes palabras para un mismo significado.
Excelente, Chris, muy bien. Entonces, esta creación de palabras lo que me va a ayudar es a parafrasear, es decir, poder decir lo mismo sin tener que usar palabras que tal vez no recuerdo, sino usar las que sí recuerdo. Es decir, que me va a permitir dejar un poquito esos bloqueos, ¿cierto? Entonces, es como que cuando estoy hablando y se me olvida algo, tratar de buscar otra opción para poder parafrasear lo que quiero decir con palabras que sí recuerdo. ¿Listo? This, for example, the combination between get and the adjectives is very important. We're going to have a lot of different words or a lot of different possibilities here with when we combine, the verb get, sometimes is be, right? Plus the verb in past participle, right? What's the difference? It's the same difference as be used to and get used to. Get is like the process. Yes. And is or verb to be, it's like the state. Hmm? So, for example, when I say get fired, it's the action, yes, it's the action of being fired, es decir, ser despedido, como que te despidan, right? Yes. But when I say be fired, let's say is fired or you are fired, is the state, como está despedido, right? So the one is the action, one is like the process, and the other one is the state, right? Especially here, we're going to work with reflexive actions. So, for example, as I said before, or as we saw before, it was enfermarse, enojarse, fastidiarse. So those are going to be actions which are reflexive, right? Which is me with myself, right? So in that case, that's why we can use get plus verb in past participle or the verb to be in other options if it's like estar molesto, estar triste, estar emocionado, right? Which is different from emocionarse, entristecerse, molestarse, enfermarse, right? Entonces, we have the two options, we have the two possibilities. Now, it's important that you remember the past participle of the verbs because most of them are going to be working with the past participle of verbs. Yes? So, let's see. For example, get fired. Bueno, get fired is not so literal, no es tan literal because it's not quemarse, ¿cierto? Get fired would be like quemarse, but in real time is, what is get fired?
Ser despedido.
Ser despedido o despedir a alguien del trabajo. Ready? Muy bien. Get robbed, of course, it means like ser robado. Get promoted. What would be get promoted?
Ser ascendido.
Muy bien, very good. Again, get relaxed, pues, relajarse. Get spoiled. Oh my God, get spoiled. What is that? Get spoiled.
Maybe arruinado.
Literalmente dice como arruinado, pero cuando dice get spoiled es más en otro contexto como consentido. Ready? So, for example, I would say that, no sé, the baby gets spoiled by his mom, right? So in this case, get spoiled no es literalmente como arruinar, sino como consentir, ready? Hacen como una metáfora entre arruinar y consentir. Dado que consentir, sobre consentir a alguien, pues es malo, right? So that's why they make the comparison. Then we have get burned. What would be get burned?
Quemado.
Quemarse, right? Que burn solito es quemado, pero más el get, then would be quemarse. Get hired, of course, it would be contratar, ¿cierto? O ser contratado. Get sick, enfermar. Get angry, enojarse. Get sad, what would be get sad?
Entristecerse.
Entristecerse, ¿sí? So I could say, for example, hi, no, don't get sad, don't worry. Don't get sad, right? No te entristezcas. Aunque también perfectamente podría decir, don't be sad, don't worry, don't be sad, right? No estés triste. Entonces, fíjense que siempre voy a encontrar dos formas para poder expresar lo que yo quiero decir. En este caso, usando el verb to be, verb to get, que son los verbos más usados en inglés en cualquier contexto. Ready? So in that case, it's super simple. Get excited with ready. So emocionarse, get annoyed, fastidiarse, get cranky, and get grumpy. These two are similar to get angry. It's like molestarse, ¿no? Como ponerse gruñoncito, right? So that would be the option of. ¿Listo? Ready? ¿Qué tal, guys? ¿Cómo ven esta mezcla entre get y pair en past participle? ¿Sí está clara? It's more or less clear or not so much?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. Listo. Dani, ¿cómo vas? Good? No problem?
Yes, teacher, is clear.
Perfect. Good, 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 good. Ready? So that's only a little part of the word formation because, well, it's just like an alternative, an additional tool if I don't find the right words, right? But there are going to be other different ways in which we can create words. Why is it necessary to form words sometimes? Pues, as I said before, because the languages are not equivalent. The same words that we have in Spanish are not exactly the same words that we have in English. Probably in Spanish, I have one word that in English I don't have, right? Sorry. Probably in English, I have some words that in Spanish I don't have, right? For example, the word cringe. We have to use it in Spanish because in Spanish we don't have a specific term for that. We have like vergüenza ajena, but it's a combination of words, but it's not one term similar to this one, right? So, and it's not even the same. It's similar, but it's not exactly the same because cringe is a specific feeling, no? So always there are some words in one language that we don't have on the other language. That is why we have to use sometimes English words into Spanish, like for example, cringe, right? Other words in Spanish, like for example, in English, no? It happens a lot with food, no? For example, how do they call how do you say tacos or arepas in English? How do you say those two?
Tacos and
Tacos
arepas.
and arepas, right? It doesn't change because they do not have exactly the same. So they don't have a referent for those two objects. Yes? So that is why sometimes it's necessary to form new words because it's necessary to make myself understood, to make myself clear. And in that purpose of making myself clear, maybe I can do it better if I create another word. Okay? Bueno, so the first part was about get plus verb in past participle, which is super simple, no? For example, I would say, don't do because it's still too early. Yes, no, well, let's say, wait, because, my God, shoot, sorry, no, because too early to finish the class. How would you create or what word would you use to complete the sentence in here? Don't what? Because it's still too early to finish the class. Aún es muy temprano to finish the class. So what word would you use here? There is not only one correct answer. There are many correct answers. It depends on you.
Get sad.
Ok, very good. So don't get sad. A alguien que sí le gusta la clase, como no, ay, no te entristezcas que todavía falta clase, right? Pero if you don't like the class, that one is great. The option is great. What other option could be?
Don't get bored.
Don't get bored. That would be another possibility, right? Any other? Imagine that it's a person that is anxious for finishing the class. Like, for example, in the school, when you just want to go, we play with your friends.
Get excited.
Exactly. That one was what I was thinking. This one, these two are great. Perfect. Don't get bored because you like the class. But if it's a person who doesn't like so much the class, probably the best option would be A. Don't get too excited. No? No se me emocione mucho. Don't get too excited because it's still too early to finish the class. So look that we created or we used three different words, three different combinations to create three different sentences completely different, no? So that's why it's important to learn how to like interpret the context and create new words according to the context, of course. Ready? Bueno, guys. So the other part here, it's going to be, well, we have seen that we can create compound adjectives. Remember that it was like well dressed or well known or widespread or homemade, right? But those adjectives which are compound also they are going to have the possibility to work in superlative or comparative way, right? So it says the following adjectives and adverbs have irregular comparative and superlative forms. They are frequently using comparative and superlative compound adjectives. Ready? So in the case that we have, for example, good, bad, right? We know that good is the comparative is better and the superlative is best, no? For example, if I say that he is, let's say, good, no, mentiras, let's say, sí, yes, good looking man, right? The adjective, the comparative, it's going to be right here. So if I say es más apuesto que, I would say he is better looking than, ¿cierto? Just changing the better, right? But if I say es el más apuesto, okay, he's the best looking man on the city, on the course, or whatever, right? So, pardon, it depends on the adjective that we have, right? Remember, sometimes I can use the adjective, bueno, malo, ¿cierto? And other times I can use the adverb, bien, mal, poquito, mucho, right? So which is a little bit different, right? What about if I say it's a well-known restaurant? It's a well-known restaurant, ¿cierto? It's normal, well-known, muy conocido o bien conocido, ready? But if I want to say, es el mejor o el más conocido restaurante, how would you do that?
It's a best known restaurant.
Muy bien, is the best. Recuerden que el superlativo siempre va a llevar el the, right? So, is the best known restaurant, yes? So, but what about if I say, no, este es más conocido que otro restaurante? How would you do that?
It's
It is a
Dale, dale, don't worry. Brian, dale, go.
it's a better known restaurant than other.
Than others, right? Muy bien, that's it. Ready? So in this case, of course, these are irregular, but it can happen with any other compound adjective, right? For example, I am cold-hearted. I am bueno, I am a cold-hearted man. It's not real, but it's an example, right? Then how would you say, yo soy el hombre más frío o con el corazón más frío? How would you do that?
I am the most cold heart man.
Almost. Como cold es monosílabo, recuerden que en ese caso solo agrego EST. So I'm the coldest hearted man. Yes, so like, soy el más frío, right? If it's a comparative, bueno, I am a colder hearted than other person, no? Than my father, for example, something like that. Yes. So it depends on the first part of the compound adjective. Ready? Because of course the second part is always a characteristic, but there is not going to be the comparison. The comparison is going to be in the first part, whether if it's an adjective or if it's an adverb, right? Taking into account that. And especially taking into account these ones that are irregular. So it's important to take into account that. Remember, monosyllables, o sea, adjectives with one syllable. With one syllable, you add, if it's comparative, ER. If it's superlative, est. For example, taller or tallest, bigger or biggest, right? If it's two syllables, but finishes in Y, it's going to be IER, comparative, or IEST, superlative. Example, happy. So happier than or the happiest, right? So it depends. If it's two syllables, wait, in green, two syllables. Oh my God, two syllables. But it doesn't finish in Y, just two syllables and finish in other different letter, then I'm going to use more for comparative and the most for superlative. For example, famous. Famous has two syllables, but it doesn't finish in Y, finishes in S, in a different letter. So in that case, I don't say famouser, no, I said more famous or the most famous. Yes. And the adjectives that are plurisyllable, I mean three or more syllables. It doesn't matter the letter, it's going to be the same. More for comparative and the most for superlative. Yes. So, for example, I would say incredibly talented. Yes. So I would say the most incredibly talented. Huh? Yes. So because incredibly has incredibly four syllables. So in that case, it's just the most incredibly talented. Yes. Or more incredibly talented than other person. Depends. Ready? These are the rules for the comparative or superlative in adjectives, compound or regular. No? So in that case, I can use normal adjectives like, for example, cold or, and also the irregular ones. Good, bad, well, badly, ¿Listo? Example, for example, oh my God, with green? No, no, with green, with red. Yes, better. My grandma is the thin-hearted woman. Es la más amorosa. And there is an adjective which is hearted.
Soft?
No, that is not the one. It's actually kind of the opposite of the one that we use here. If a cold-hearted person is somebody that is cold and closed, what would be a person like my grandma?
Warm?
Muy bien, Chris, but it's a superlative. So my grandma is the warmest hearted woman, right? Careful, it's la más amorosa. So that's why we use the superlative, sorry, into the adjective warm, which is the first part of the compound adjective. Ready? Difficult? Más o menos, more or less. What do you think?
Yes, teacher, more or less.
It's just that, well, important to tell you that these adjectives are, I mean, they are used, but not mandatory because these adjectives are a little bit advanced. So if you don't want to use these ones and you want to use just a regular adjective, but it's clear, that's it, no? So I would say, for example, my grandma is the loveliest woman, and that's it. It's exactly the same. Lovely and warm-hearted is a synonym, no? So it's not an obligation to use these adjectives. You can use any normal adjective and it's going to be fine. ¿Listo? Ready? Bueno, guys, so finally today, we're going to work probably in the biggest part of the class. We're going to have something that it's called affixes. Yes? And this is the most common form or the most common way to create new words. Affixes are going to be parts or little, how do you say, well, yes, like little words, yes, little parts of the word that are used at the beginning or at the end of a word to change the meaning of the word. Yes? For example, I have the word, the root word, la palabra raíz, the root word, which is accept. Yes? Accept. O sea, aceptar, right? If I add, for example, the suffix is the one that it's after, and prefix is the one that it's before. Happens the same in Spanish, prefijos y sufijos, right? So in that case, I have a suffix. Accept is a verb, ¿cierto? Es el verbo aceptar. But if I add able, bueno, yes, you know, able it's the pronunciation when it's complete, it's going to transform. Ya no es accept, sino acceptable. And then acceptable, it's not a verb. It's an adjective. It's a characteristic. ¿Cierto? Then I said, okay, no es aceptar, sino aceptable, right? But if I put also a prefix right here, it's going to be actually the opposite, unacceptable, right? So these affixes, prefixes, and suffixes are going to be the biggest way to create and to modify words. Ready? Because they can help me to create, to transform one word into a similar word, but with a different way. For example, I can say, la, 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 my mother, my mother is a, and then the word is work. Yes. Pero aquí no puede ir un verbo, porque el verbo es is, right? ¿Qué le pondrían a esta palabra para volverla adaptable a este espacio? What would you use? Come on, think about it. Piénsenlo. How could you modify or how can you accommodate this word here in this space? What do I have to change? What do I have to include? Or like this, my mother is at work? I don't think so. My mother is a. No? Are you similar to the little lady here? It's like, it's impossible, no? Chris,
If we want to talk about the mother, if she's so trabajadora, maybe hardworking.
okay, that is a big modification because you are transforming into hardworking, ¿cierto? Good, okay, that's a possibility. In that case, you use ing for transforming this word into an adjective. But simpler than that, I'm going to say, mi mamá es una trabajadora. How would you transform the verb? Esto es un verbo. How would you transform into a noun? ¿Cómo lo transformarían en sustantivo?
Oh, a worker.
Worker, that's it, right? Entonces, ¿qué hice? Le agregué un sufijo. ¿Qué sufijo? ER. Ese ER me transforma verbos en sustantivos. Example. My dad is a, and the action is drive. Then how would you accommodate the verb manejar aquí? How would you do that?
Driver?
Driver.
Bien, very good. Entonces le agregué el mismo sufijo. Bueno, acá le agregué solo R porque el verbo ya terminaba en E, ¿cierto? O myself, for example. I am a, and then the verb is teach. Then, how can I accommodate the verb enseñar here?
Teacher.
Of course, so I include the same suffix, right? El mismo sufijo, yes? Me vuelve verbos en forma de sustantivos, right? But I can have other different suffix, ready? And it can, in this case, is for transforming verbs into nouns. But maybe I have another one for transforming verbs into adjectives, for example. Yes? Or I can use it another one for creating antonyms, which is the opposite word. Yes? So the affixes and suffixes are going to be very easy to learn because in that case, they are very common and very similar one to the other, no? For example, Yes. I have the word honest. Honest. And I have the word responsible. Responsible. Yes. Good. So in that case, I want to transform. Estas son adjetivos, adjectives, characteristics. Ready? I want to transform these words into nouns. Las quiero volver sustantivos. Honest es una característica. ¿Cuál sería el sustantivo? Honestidad. Ready? How do you say honestidad?
Honestly,
Honestly es honestamente, que es un adverbio, pero casi es honesty with T and Y. Ready? Good. Then responsible es the adjective, responsable. How do you say responsabilidad?
Responsibility.
Responsibility, right? Entonces, what is the suffix in this case? Ty. And it's transforming the adjective into a noun, right? Entonces, guys, today, very, very quickly, because we don't have much time, we're going to check different suffixes and affixes that we have, right? So, for example, in this case, we're going to find, or let's use this one, full, which is full of, like, for example, careful, yes, peaceful, what other we would say, wonderful, yes, words that when we have full, it's because it's full of us, of, right? The opposite, it would be less, no? Like, for example, careless. Si careful es cuidadoso, what would be careless?
descuidado.
Descuidado, right? So it's the opposite, right? Then we have other word that it's meant like an action, no? For example, recruitment, reclutamiento, right? Or let me think on another one. Yeah, it's not very common, but well, it's kind of an action, right? Then we have, for example, ness, which is state or quality, no? So, for example, I cannot think in one this moment. Mm, whiteness, or let's say cuteness, right? What would be cute? It's como bonito, lindo, right? There will be cuteness, like belleza, no? So it's kind of transforming the quality into an state, no? Li, este sí es muy popular, it's the adverse of matter, no? It means mente. So carefully, wonderfully, silently, rapidly, so on, so on. Ready? Shun is an action or process. Example, like, like how would you say that? Let's say affirmation, exclamation, oh, there was another one. Formation, no, of course, it's the same one, no? So in that case, that can transform a noun into the action, which is kind of the opposite way, no? Full of with O's, like for example, marvelous. What is another one? Well, there are many examples, but in this moment I don't remember. We're going to see it in the next slide there, okay? Create a verb, eyes, like for example, prioritize, emphasize, right? I would say, for example, emphatic is emphatic, right? But if I transform it into an action, emphasize, enfatizar, right? Prior, it means like primordial, yeah. But priorize, it means priorizar, right? And if it would be also creating a verb, like for example, clarify, yes, she's clear, well, it's the adjective, no? But clarify then would be the action created, ready? We're going to see many different examples, so don't worry about it, yes? I can also classify the adjectives in nouns, adjectives, or verbs. Okay, they are the same adjectives that we have here, but they are just classified between nouns, adjectives, or verbs. Yes, nouns when we have ness, er, or ion. No, so ion like relation, nation, institution are nouns, sustantivos. Er, as we saw before, worker, driver, teacher, I don't know, like runner, painter, drawer, all of them. And especially for example, with feelings, no? Especially like when we mention the feelings, okay? The adjectives are going to be full, less, which are opposites, and bull, right? Like for example, reliable, able, responsible, acceptable, all of them, right? And the verbs that we saw, prioritize, emphasize, clarify, and aid, yeah? Like for example, create, yes? So in that case, that would be the action. Hmm? Then taking into account that we're going to have 5 different examples. Don't worry, if you cannot do it, no worries, but I am sure that you can do it because they are super simple. Guys, try to complete the sentences using the word that is here, okay? Into one of the ways that we have, no? So depending, using a suffix, usando un sufijo, depending, no? Can be er, less, bo, right? So take into account. Not all of the 5, but some of them. 2, you can use 2. Ready? There's Danny, por ejemplo, for number 1 and number 4, Brian number 2 and number 5, Christian number 3 and number 1, you know? You have 2 minutes. When you finish, tell me that you're ready.
She is very careful when she drives, and he works as a teacher in a school.
Muy bien, Danny, very good. She's very care. Of course, the adjective would be careful. Care es el verbo cuidar, ¿cierto? Es un verbo, pero lo transformaste en un adjetivo con el sufijo full. Careful, very good. Aquí tengo igual un verbo transformado en un sustantivo. ¿Cómo? Usando el sufijo er, ready? O er. Entonces, he works as a teacher in a school. Muy bien, Danny, excellent. Any ideas of the other 3?
Teacher, the room is filled with darkness.
Very
Darkness.
good. Excellent. Entonces, dark es el adjetivo. ¿Cómo lo vuelvo sustantivo? Using ness, right? So, is full of darkness. Very good. Oscuridad. Excellent. What about 4 and 5?
Therefore, they need to modernize their system, I think.
Modernize. Muy bien. Very good. Excellent.
Modernize.
Muy bien.
And
Excellent. And
I always speak honesty.
honestly. Honestly. Very good.
Okay, sí, honestly.
Exactly, muy bien. ¿Por qué? Porque es cómo hablas honestamente. Honesty es lo que tienes, o sea, honestidad, ¿cierto? ¿Y cómo eres? Honesto. So in that case, depending the word, ¿no? In this case, it's the adverb of manner. ¿Cómo hago la cosa? Pues honestamente. So I always speak honestly because I am not a liar. Muy bien, guys. Excellent. You see? So suena como mucha información, como, uy, no, son muchos sufijos, pero realmente ya están tan incluidos o ya son tan trabajados, tan repetidos, que ya son como más fáciles de entender, ¿right? O sea, ustedes los han ido trabajando sin saberlo, ¿right? Entonces, muy bien, excelente. Now, that's the suffix. Now we're going to work on the affixes. On the prefixes. Ready? The prefixes are a little bit easier because they are very similar to Spanish because most of them, they come from Latin. Ready? So as they come from Latin, in Spanish, we have exactly the same. Then we have, for example, this, which is the opposite of respectful, disrespectful, right? Grateful, disgraceful, right? Re, which is again, no, like redo it, repeat. Yeah, so in that case, it's like do it again. Miss, also the opposite, misconception, misunderstanding. Understanding es una regla, ¿cierto? Misunderstanding, what would be? Malentendido. Right? It's the opposite of, right? D, which is reduce or remove, no? Like deconstruct, yes? There is another one, but I forget it. The reduce and remove. Yeah, but in that case, deconstruct, it's the opposite. I mean, it's like the opposite of construct, no? Together, co-workers, like when we use co, similar to Spanish, it's together with another person. When it's not, it means that it doesn't have something, no? So, for example, I legal. Moral, immoral, yes? Polite, impolite, yes? So they're depending the word, the letter that starts the other word. So you can use in in or ill, well, or al, yes? So illegal, immoral, impolite, depends on that, ready? Or it's an exaggeration, yes? So for example, think, overthink, yes? Do, it's do, normally. Overdo, it's como hacer de más or hacer demasiado, right? So in that case, over, it's too much. On, it's the opposite, right? Similar to in, so similar to this, sorry. For example, acceptable, unacceptable, yes? Punctual, unpunctual, yeah? So it's like the opposite. And anti, which is normally as in Spanish, it's against, right? Antisocial, anti-system, anti blah, 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 blah. Antivirus, so that's it. So those are super simple because they are super similar to in Spanish, taking into account that they come from Latin. Ready? So, guys, super quickly, again, the same. Tell me the one that you have using prefixes, no? This time is using prefixes.
They are in social group. They always go against society.
Even in that case, it's not unsocial. There is another one. In Spanish, it's the same. How do you say that in Spanish?
In social?
No, that is not unsocial. It's a different one. It's antisocial. Right? So they are an antisocial group. They always go against the society, right? Listo, muy bien. Number 2.
Working in the street is not illegal. It is not against the law.
Muy bien. So working in the street is not illegal. It is not against the law. Against the law. What is the meaning of against? Verbo nuevo que, perdón, preposición nueva que no habíamos visto. Against.
Contra.
En contra de, ¿cierto? En contra de. Muy bien. Good. Yes. So, number 3. Aquí es tend, perdón. Tend es como tiende a.
Overthink.
Overthink. Muy bien. Of course, people with anxiety tend to overthink. O sea, think too much, right? Muy bien. Good. Number 4. That one is a little bit tough. That one is tough, right? Hmm. No, nothing. What it means is that, oh, the meaning of this sentence is that some things cannot be repeated. So you have to face the consequence. There is not like a second chance to do again the thing, and you gotta face the consequence. Face, what is the meaning of face? Like afrontar, no? So you gotta face the consequence. So what could be the word there? No, if it's do again, what is the prefix for do again?
Right?
Exactly, muy bien. So, but in that case, it's redo, which is como rehacer. Yes. But since here it's after it's in passive voice, I'm going to use it like redone. Ready? Like repetida or rehecha, right? So some things can be redone. You gotta face the consequence, right? Listo. And number 5.
I never disrespect the elderly. I was raised as a gentleman.
Muy bien, Christian. Excellent. I never disrespect. O sea, the opposite of respect, it means irrespetar, right? I never disrespect the elderly, o sea, the old people, right? I was raised as a gentleman, ready? O sea, como un caballero. Good. What is the meaning of the expression I was raised? I was raised. What is that?
Fui criado.
Muy bien, very good. Fui criado. Excelente. Listo, guys. Entonces, how do you feel about the prefixes and suffixes? ¿Cómo se ven ahí con los prefijos y sufijos? Good. Un poquito enredado. Es un poquito enredado porque son muchos, obviamente, pero realmente, como les digo, son muy fáciles de aprender, ya que son muy similares al español. Esto especialmente los prefijos. Los sufijos son un poquito más complicados, pero los prefijos son muy, muy sencillos. Entonces, pues realmente es algo sencillo de aprender y les va a funcionar mucho, 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 mucho. ¿Por qué? Porque me puede ayudar a parafrasear. De pronto yo no sé cómo usar la oración con la palabra honestidad, porque no recuerdo exactamente cómo se dice honestidad, ¿cierto? Pero sí me acuerdo cómo se dice honestamente y también me acuerdo cómo se dice honesto. Entonces puedo modificar mi oración para expresar lo mismo, ¿cierto? De pronto yo no me acuerdo cómo se dice irresponsable, pero me acuerdo cómo se dice responsabilidad. Entonces puedo usar eso a mi favor. ¿Listo? De pronto no me acuerdo cómo se dice ilegal, pero sí me acuerdo cómo se dice legal. Entonces puedo darle la vuelta a mi oración para poder parafrasearla y decir lo mismo con palabras que sí me acuerdo. ¿Listo, guys? ¿Qué tal? Good. Question so far. ¿Está ahí bien? No problem.
Yes, teacher, it's clear.
It's clear. Listo. Very, very quickly, very, very quickly. Let me just go here. Wait here. Okay. We're gonna go to a Kahoot. It's super short. Yes, it's just for you to to confirm the learning. Ready? Come on, come on, come on. Ready? A ver, wait a second. Word formation over here. Ready? Okay, guys. Over here, we're going to do it in a classic mode. Ready? So it's just going to be short questions. So get ready to join, please. Put the pin. Ready? I wait for you. Ready, and it's already here. Okay, Chris. Brian. Let's get started then. Okay, guys. So choose the correct option to complete the next sentence. Normally, people who became successful are the. Uy, my God, listo. Entonces, most hardworking, porque hardest workers, pero perfectamente podría ser, excepto que al final estaba people. Como workers ya es trabajadores, pues el people no era necesario, ¿cierto? Entonces, en este caso, hardest workers no cabía ahí porque ya teníamos el sustantivo después. ¿Ready? Era most hardworking people. ¿Ok? ¿Listo? Mm, Let's see it. Nobody? Yes. Okay, no. Ready. So choose the correct option, the same. So when I think I will, I immediately check, tell mom. Easy, no? When I get sick, that's it, right? Muy bien, let's see. Ahora sí, now we have P points. So, okay, number three. I really get cranky when I need to a task over again. What do you think? What do you think? Oh my God. ¿Recuerdan el que vimos ahorita? When I have to redo a task over again. O sea, cuando tengo que repetir la responsabilidad o la tarea que esté haciendo, right? Dismake, no, that doesn't exist, porque this es como deshacer, ¿no? Right? And doer, pilas que doer sí existe, pero el er es para un sustantivo, ¿cierto? Entonces doer es de la persona que hace, el que hace cosas, ¿cierto? Entonces en este caso es cuando necesito que repetir un task, o sea, redo a task over again. Ok, muy bien, Christian, great. Okay, number four. You must have some for your dreams to come true. You must have some. Oh my God. Muy bien, entonces la palabra es determination. Determinate es el verbo determinar, pero no es la palabra que estamos buscando. Acá estamos buscando el sustantivo, determinación. Debes tener alguna o debes tener buena determinación, ¿cierto? No determinar, sino determinación. Muy bien. Very good. Okay, great. Number five. In a relationship, it's essential to what you really want. My God. Specific es específico, es el adjetivo, ¿cierto? Pero aquí, después del to, es esencial. ¿Qué es esencial? Especificar, ¿cierto? Entonces, I-Fi, right? The suffix for word, for verbs, es el sufijo de verbos, ¿no? Entonces, especificar. Similar to clarify, specify, right? So, el sufijo de verbos. Muy bien. Great, muy bien, excellent. Bueno, six of eight. People who get caught cheating in the exam will be. mm, Muy bien, disqualified, o sea, descalificados, disqualified. Great. Okay, muy bien. And, no, seven of eight. Sedentarism is really for our body. Harm, la palabra harm es daño. Excelente, muy bien. Harmful, right? Harmful es decir, lleno de daño, o sea, dañino, básicamente. Harmless, como sin peligro, yes, like, how do you say that in Spanish? Como que no hace daño, right? Yes, inofensivo. And harmless, harmful, it's the answer. Dices dañino, ¿cierto? Lleno de daño. Good. Última, ahora sí, finishing. People can't without a valid reason. People can without a valid reason. Listo. Pilas que cuando uso get, recuerden que debe ir con un past participle. No va con el verbo normal, sino con el past participle del verbo. Yes. Get fired, get relaxed, get excited, get annoyed, right? Yes. Entonces, get fired. En ese caso, be fired, no, pues es como ser fuego, right? Over fire, of course, no. And get fired no funciona porque no está con el verbo en past participle. ¿Listo? Bueno, I think that Christian is our happy and proud winner. Brian in third place. Okay. I think Daniela in second place. Very good. And our grateful and marvelous winner is Christian. Muy bien. You got great points here, right? Okay, guys. Very good. So we're going to continue. And that's it. Bueno, guys. So, well, the idea, of course, of today was just that you could create some words and manage the different form of the words. How is to create an adjective, how is to create a verb, how is to create a noun, right? So I am going to leave you a homework, which is could you find the antonyms of these words? Legal, logical, social, undervalued, and disassembled. Ready? Find the adjective, the antonyms of these words. Okay? Esta imagen la pueden encontrar en la infografía de la semana, o sea, en el tablero de anuncios. Apenas entran a su plataforma, el nivel avanzado les aparece esta, yo creo que todos ya la han visto. Entonces ahí les va a aparecer para que revisen las palabras y de pronto practiquen un ratico con los sufijos y los prefijos. ¿Listo, guys? Guys, questions, difficulties, problems, anything?
No, teacher, it's clear.
Clear? Yes, I think that it's clear. You won the game, completely won, right? Bueno, guys, muy bien. La próxima semana entonces estamos finalizando nuestras clases, ¿sí? Entonces, la próxima semana, que es la semana del 10 al 15, ¿sí? Estaremos dando nuestra última clase, que es la clase de la semana 8. ¿Listo? La vamos a dar el jueves, no sé qué día es el jueves, pero el día jueves. ¿Listo? Creo que cae como 13, creo. I think so. El jueves 13, normal a las 8. ¿Listo, guys? Entonces, esa será nuestra última clase. Sin embargo, a partir de ahí ustedes van a tener como 5 días más, ¿ready? Para terminar lo que les queda en plataforma. Es decir, terminar checkpoint final, terminar checkpoint 7 y 8, 6 y, 5 y 6, bueno, en el que vayan y hasta el final. ¿Listo? Recomendaciones después de terminar las clases. Recuerden enviar el correo a coordinación o escribirme a mí para darles los detalles para que presenten el examen Lingua Skill. ¿Listo? Entonces, la próxima clase, finalizando, les voy a dar digamos, unos materiales ahí para que ustedes empiecen a practicar para ese examen. Pues ese examen por fuera de la academia, pues es caro, ¿sí? Entonces vale más o menos 300 y pues ese sí da una certificación de nivel y pues lo presentan las personas que finalicen todos los 5 niveles. Como ustedes valientemente y responsablemente terminaron los 5 niveles, pues tienen derecho a presentar ese examen, ¿vale? Entonces los invito a que lo presenten y con eso se miden en qué nivel están realmente según el examen. ¿Listo? Yo lo presenté hace poco y es un poquito complicado, especialmente por los acentos, porque es un poquito medio británico, pero igual los invito a que se midan con ese examen, ¿vale? Para que pues sepan más o menos cómo es un examen internacional y pues tengan un certificado de nivel, sea cual sea el nivel que obtengan, ¿vale? ¿Listo? Guys, feliz semana, feliz fin de semana, nos vemos la otra semanita y nada, juiciosos, muchas gracias por todo, ¿ok?
Thank you,
Thank you.
teacher. Good night.
See you.
Muy bien, see you next week.
Thanks, teacher. Bye. Good
Bye,
night.
bro, see you soon.